It's a multi-million-dollar scam.
It's 100% extortion.
Preying on tens of millions of Americans.
Definitely rise to the level of a federal crime.
And no one has been able to stop it.
Why isn't this illegal?
I'm guilty till proven innocent.
It's the business of mugshots, arrest records that are often misleading and sometimes just wrong.
It said that I was selling drugs as though it was true information.
Many mugshots are innocent people arrested for stupid reasons.
We went on the hunt for the people behind these schemes.
Why the secrecy?
And along the way, we found it was about more than just sleazy websites.
You know, it's absolutely journalism.
We're basically creating a digital scarlet letter.
What happened? I'm on the front page all of a sudden? What happened? Hello?
We like to believe we're a nation where people are innocent until proven guilty. But that's hardly the case. I used to look at mugshots and just assume that person was guilty. Why wouldn't they be? All the visual cues are there. I mean, the person in the photo looks completely miserable, and it was taken at a jail by the police. It's official. But just because someone was arrested doesn't mean they did anything wrong. They could have been acquitted, or falsely arrested, or the charges dropped. That means for all the mugshots you're about to see over the next hour, assume that person's innocent, until you know otherwise. A lot of people in those photos didn't actually commit a crime, like Jimmy Thompson.
I was driving down the road in Orlando and I got pulled over by a police officer for actually having an expired tag. During the stop, they had mixed my information up with another person named James Thompson and actually took me to jail because of that mess up. And that is the gentleman that they were wanting. Who was born on the same date of birth as me, had some outstanding warrants in Hillsborough and Pasco County.
Despite being a law-abiding, church-going guy, Jimmy was taken to the station, booked, and tossed in jail for 8 days. You'd think it couldn't get any worse, except that, as with all arrests, they took Jimmy's mugshot, and then it was entered into a police database that everyone has access to.
It was the worst day of my life.
Eventually, Jimmy cleared his name with the help of a lawyer, and the sheriff's department promptly removed his mugshot from their site. And this guy's charges were eventually dropped as well.
About 2 days after that, I just Googled my name to see what would come up. That's when I actually noticed that it was still up there. When I clicked on it, it took me to the website mugshots.com. I was told that the only way to get a photo unpublished off their website is to pay $399.
Jimmy didn't have the money because he was jobless and had been wondering why potential employers weren't calling him back. There's a good chance they were finding his mugshot with a simple Google search.
If somebody sees that mugshot, they would assume that I was guilty.
Welcome to the very shady, very lucrative mugshot industry. These websites take arrest records, including mugshots, from police databases and post the information on their own sites for everyone to see. If you want to take it down, you gotta pay up. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. They claim they're posting mugshots in the name of public safety, but their real motive appears to be money. And it's minorities who are disproportionately affected by these mugshot websites because they're arrested at higher rates than whites. This is Shireen Sterling. She's an art student who makes straight A's. The problem started when her ID got stolen. The woman who took it got arrested for a different reason, but presented Shireen's ID to the cops as if it were her own.
It said that I had 2 counts of criminal contempt, assault, and I don't do any of that stuff. I really am just either in school or with my family.
And then she started looking for jobs.
I wouldn't hear anything back, or if I did, they weren't interested, and they were just like usual like cashier jobs and just regular stuff that anybody could walk in and get, but it was harder for me for some reason. That's when I started, Googled myself to figure out what they were seeing.
And what's the first thing that popped up? You guessed it, mugshot websites. And they didn't even have her mugshot, but it showed her full name and birth date.
After I went through the expensive process in order to prove I am who I am, we sent that information to them to say, look, this isn't me, I have like legal proof, and they still wanted to get payment from me in order to take it down.
There are dozens of these mugshot websites. The biggest of them all is mugshots.com. They have between 15 to 20 million mugshots and have made millions of dollars through a sister website called unpublisharrest.com, where you pay to remove your photo. They pose as separate companies, but the individuals behind it are the same. Meanwhile, the people on the site, many who are innocent, are getting screwed. But wait a minute, this is America. So why doesn't someone do what Americans do in cases like this? Sue the bastards. Sure enough, someone's already tried. So I'm on my way to the airport to pick up a lawyer who knows a lot about mugshot websites because he filed a class action lawsuit against them and he won. He agreed to meet me here in Florida, a hotbed for these mugshot websites. He came to talk about his lawsuit. Looking for Scott. Where might he be? There he is. Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm Natasha del Toro.
Oh, I'm Scott. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Come
to
on
meet you
in. This is Mugshot Central here, so.
I know, it's the birthplace of the mugshot industry, so it's nice to be here,
You
to feel the energy.
Right, just to feel the energy.
All the tension.
All the tension.
Once we announced that we were undertaking this, we had people reaching out from all over the country telling me their story about how they had been affected by the mugshot industry and how detrimental it was to their life. It basically prevents them from moving forward in many ways. They won't be able to find jobs, they won't be able to develop new relationships, they won't be able to get apartment rentals or loans, because one of the first things people would do when they applied for those things or met new people would be to look them up online.
Scott Ciolik's lawsuit resulted in a major win for victims of the mugshot industry in Ohio. 2 websites agreed to stop charging for removal, and another went offline. But one got away.
The mugshots.com, the address that they put on their website for where they could be reached, the mail just kept getting sent back, and we weren't able to serve them directly.
So you couldn't sue mugshots.com because you couldn't figure out who owned mugshots.com?
Yeah, mugshots.com is a URL. It's just an address. So you need to find either an entity, like a trust or a company or a person, to bring into court to answer for it. But when it came to mugshots.com, we couldn't determine who that was. So we kind of ran into a wall at that point.
It just seems fraught with all kinds of problems that a business can operate online and you don't know who they are, where they're located. If there's any problem, you can't contact them to bring them into court. If I was a crook, that would be the way to go, right? I mean, it seems like such an easy way to scam people.
That's exactly right. And the people have no recourse.
So is this legal, what these websites are doing?
The aggregation of the photos in and of itself, because they are a matter of public record, is probably legal. I think what's illegal is the extortion aspect of it. You're not allowed to threaten for money to not embarrass people and not talk bad about them. That's extortion.
So how are mugshot websites getting away with this, using public records for profit? In case you fell asleep during history class, the answer goes way back to our founding fathers. During the Revolutionary War, the British arrested American citizens in secret, and the founding fathers didn't much like this, so they created an open judicial system where arrests and arrest records were made public, so we can know what our government's doing. But they never foresaw the internet, or mugshots.com.
When they arrested me, they say my rights were taken away while I was in jail. Why didn't I get them back? And I don't feel like I got them back. Because somebody can post my picture up somewhere and say I'm somebody else, and the only way I can change it is if I pay them money.
I decided to dig deeper. On their website, they say they're owned and operated by Julki Sudesa in Nevis, West Indies. I searched domain registrations, corporate filings, court records, and couldn't find any company by that name. The only thing I could find is that the word means in public, in Finnish. Seems ironic for a company that couldn't be more secretive. My colleague Dan Lieberman and I started looking into it. If your company is so above board and legal, then why would you need to register as private? Why would you need to keep...
Yeah, why are they hiding?
All I could find was false leads. One document showed they were using the names of dead people as corporate officers. They even created a fake LinkedIn profile for the supposed owner of mugshots.com. I did find that the website was registered in Belize. So let me get this straight. Mugshots.com is owned by a company with a Finnish name, incorporated in Nevis, West Indies, and registered in Belize. And despite all that, when I finally caught a break, I should have guessed they would be right in my backyard. Coming up on The Naked Truth.
Why are you asking? I'll call the police. Why would you call the police?
Mugshot websites are holding people's reputations for ransom in what appears to be an extortion racket, which is maybe why the owners of the biggest site, mugshots.com, are going to such extreme lengths to hide. Next stop, Texas, where there's a guy who's also looking for the elusive mugshot kingpins. I've been talking to him for more than a year, and he's emailed me several leads.
All right, I think this is it. We are really, really close to Tim's house.
Hey!
Hi.
How are you? I'm
Natasha?
Del Toro.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice
Pleasure
to
finally
meet you. Finally!
Yeah, y'all come in.
Thank you.
Please.
It's been so long. I feel like I already know you. This is Tim Donnelly. Meeting him shows just how misleading mugshots like this can be. He's made some mistakes in the past, but is now just trying to get on with his life.
How did you realize that your mugshot was online?
Well, because I Googled myself after I put in my full name, there were 2 mugshot links right there. That was from the marijuana arrest, you see. And then there was one that I got in a fight about some girl, and they took me in for disorderly conduct.
What was your reaction when you saw it?
Well, I was upset because, I had spent all this time looking for jobs and I had no idea this was up there. At least I could have done something about it before I spent all that time. I'm not a criminal, I go to work and keep to myself,
Eventually, Tim got a job as a manager at a fancy restaurant. But you may be thinking, well, he committed a crime. He has to pay. And he did. Fines, legal fees, probation. But should he keep paying? If everyone who smoked marijuana or got into a fight was disqualified from jobs or housing, think about how many people would be unemployed and homeless. No wonder so many people pay to have their mugshot taken down.
Do you think your mugshot has negatively impacted your life?
Yeah. It was this really cool house, but I got denied because of my arrests for that one.
Have you ever paid to get any of the mugshots down?
No, I've never paid to get any of my mugshots down. I'm not going to reward them financially for running this kind of scam.
And it's not just one photo. Tim's mugshots have popped up on 12 other sites. Paying one doesn't guarantee removal on another. So his overall cost to cleanse his online reputation is more than $5,000. And that doesn't stop other sites from doing the same thing.
There's way too many people who work way too hard at jobs for these guys to be trying to make money like this, basically shaming and blackmailing people into paying them because you don't want to have to go through the hassle of explaining this every time it comes up.
Unlike many victims who simply pay up and hope no one notices, Tim is taking a stand against mugshot sites. He started a website for other victims to contact him, and he even did a little investigative work into mugshot websites and the sister sites that take mugshots down for a fee.
I found out that a lot of them claim that they don't own the removal companies, but in actuality they do. I think that they should be accountable for the information they post, and they should be easy to contact, but a lot of times that's not the case.
So my colleague Dan and I went looking for someone who can help us locate the owners of mugshots.com.
We're picking up Mark Bourne, private investigator. He is an expert at tracking people down who are hard to find on the internet. Hey, here he is.
Oh, there he is. Hey,
Mark.
There he is. Look at him.
We've been able to track their actual mailing address to a place called Hunkins Plaza. It's on Main Street in Charlestown, Nevis, West Indies. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing about this P.O. box that they've given is that there are a lot of online casinos, payday loan companies that all share the same address.
Why would they be in Nevis, West Indies?
Well, if you want to hide assets, if you want to remain private in a business, you register in Nevis, West Indies. They're very lax with their business registration. They don't require you to disclose ownership information of a business when you start. So basically, you can file a business registration there without giving up any other details.
Basically, it's a dead end. I wonder what Alphonse Bertillon would think of this. What, you don't know Alphonse, the inventor of the modern-day mugshot? In the late 1870s, Alphonse here, a French police clerk, came up with the mugshot as we now know it. 2 photos side by side, one head-on and one profile. It quickly caught on with American police departments as a way to track criminals. Thus began the mugshot's gradual rise to fame. What started with photos of suspects in dusty police files then hit the streets with wanted posters. But it wasn't until the internet came along that the mugshot took on a whole new life. Meanwhile, back in the office, I finally found someone connected to mugshots.com, a man named Mark Epstein, who said he was their lawyer.
So you talked to this guy,
Yes.
Mark Epstein.
Yes, and from what we can tell, he's the public face. But interestingly, when I called him, he told me that he has no idea who his client is.
That's bull.
You think that's well, it's a little strange, right?
We found his name on business registration documents from mugshots.com and on publisherrest.com, where you pay to remove the photo. We also found that his son Ari is involved in the business. And what do you know? They're both based in Florida, our own backyard. So we decided to pay them a visit to see if they'd be more willing to talk to us in person. I found a business address for him, and then there's another one nearby in Hallandale, and that's supposed to be his residential address. So we can just go see what we can find.
So right up here is Hallandale Beach Boulevard. I think we're close.
So we're here at what I think is Mark Epstein's residence.
We decided to take a look around to figure out if he actually lived there.
Do you think we could walk out to the front?
Then we saw a neighbor.
There is an older gentleman up there who's looking at us. That's not him. Maybe we don't want to look at him.
And then he approached our car.
Should I ask him? I will. No, I'm going to.
Sure. Okay.
Do you know if Mark Epstein lives here?
Have a name?
Why are you asking?
I'll call the police.
Okay. Well, we were just checking it out, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care.
Okay, I don't know why you wanted to talk to him. I said he probably didn't know Mark.
He lives in the same building as Mark Epstein.
In a building of 20 floors?
We don't always agree on tactics.
He's a neighbor. I think he's probably lived there forever.
Coming up on The Naked Truth.
Hey, Mr. Epstein, why the secrecy? Why the secrecy?
Welcome to Florida, Mugshot Central. These sites thrive here because the state has some of the most expansive public record laws in the nation, giving easy access to arrest information. If only the mugshot website owners were so transparent.
I've been to many attorneys' offices, but because it's with mugshots.com, they will not take the case because they don't know who to contact. But the other one is it's a freedom of speech issue, and it was public record.
Lawmakers here have been trying to pass legislation to stop the mugshot industry since 2013, but one group keeps pushing back.
Sam Morley, Florida Press Association. I like to ensure that if the jail receives a public records request from the media or from a citizen, the digital photograph be provided to the person requesting that.
And with that, support for the bill evaporates. The way some legislators try to stop these websites is by restricting public access to mugshots and police records. But that creates another problem. When you restrict access to records, journalists like me go crazy. That little thing called freedom of the press? We need access to these records for important reasons, like crime reporting and keeping an eye on the police. But does everyone's mugshot really need to be out there online for everyone to see forevermore? That's where things get complicated. It's tricky business in the digital age, and mugshot websites have figured out just how to exploit it. I went to D.C. to talk to Jay Stanley from the American Civil Liberties Union. Maybe he's got the answer.
Hey, I'm Natasha Toro. How are you? Nice to meet you.
The reason that we insist and that it's very important that government actions be public, including arrests, is that we need to make sure that we have oversight over the government. And so for that, you need to know who is arrested and why they're arrested. But you don't necessarily need to see the mugshot in order to provide that oversight and prevent abuse. If there's a public interest and public important reason why a mugshot should be released, if there's a law enforcement reason, like you need to spread the word that this guy's on the loose, a dangerous person's on the loose, but on a routine basis, so many people are arrested. Many of them are completely innocent. The right balance between privacy and oversight is for those photos not to be released.
Right.
These are the kind of things we need to think through very carefully in the new age of digital technology.
But Scott Ciolik thinks there's another reason behind why the media wants access to booking photos.
Legitimate media outlets generate a lot of revenue by driving people to their web pages using these fresh mugshots, and that's big business.
I did some quick and dirty research, and looking at 74 newspapers, big and small, owned by the big newspaper chains, 40% of them run mugshot galleries. I traveled to Nebraska, of all places, to talk to a guy who created one of the first mugshot galleries for a major American newspaper.
I want you to calculate the average number of exemptions per return in 2000 and 2013.
This is Matt Waite. He teaches journalism at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. Before this, he used to work as a reporter and computer programmer at the Tampa Bay Times, one of the most respected newspapers in the country.
With the advent of the internet, a lot of editors and publishers started noticing that stories that had crazy-looking mugshots tended to do really well, and people started clicking on them. And everybody's just chasing page views, but those page views of mugshot galleries did really, really well.
In 2009, at the height of the recession, the Tampa Bay Times was struggling to find new ways to generate traffic and revenue. They hired a new publisher who was hungry for ideas.
He went to the Palm Beach Post in South Florida, and they showed him their mugshot gallery and let him in on how many page views it was getting, and it was in the millions, and his eyes bugged out.
And with that, they went off and created one of the first software bots used for a newspaper's mugshot gallery. The bot scrapes law enforcement websites, grabbing every single mugshot, every hour, on the hour, and feeds them to the paper. And by the way, it's the very same technology that mugshot websites use.
First day it's up, phone rings, and it's a transfer from the newsroom receptionist. And it was an executive editor of a newspaper who wanted to talk to us about it. And I took the call. He was ready to sign a check. How do I do this? How can I buy your software? How can I make this happen? How can I get it on my site? We immediately recognized that we're basically creating a digital scarlet letter here. And we'll be the first result in Google for anybody's name, anytime, ever. And none of us were comfortable with that.
Their solution was to block Google from indexing mugshots and to delete them from the site after 60 days. From there, it was all gravy.
It was generating millions of page views on about $150 a month in costs.
So it's hard to argue against it.
Some places see it as a business opportunity and a reflection of the times that we're in and the desperate need for revenue, and the arguments of that it's journalism and it's a public service are really thin and not ones you as a journalist can just latch onto and say, yes, that's why we did it and I'm enthusiastic about it.
Coming up on The Naked Truth.
Are you Sahar?
Mugshot getting lots of buzz on social media. My all-time favorite mugshot has to be Hugh Grant.
Everybody seems to be fascinated with mugshots these days, from gossip sites to commercial websites to local news.
Line and vote on who they think has the best mugshot.
We can't seem to take our eyes away. Even Pulitzer Prize-winning newspapers like the Tampa Bay Times, they've been running their own mugshot gallery since Matt Waite set it up for them back in 2009.
We're going to go talk to Neil Brown, who's the editor at the Tampa Bay Times. long been considered one of the best newspapers in the country. So we want to find out why mugshot galleries.
This is the PolitiFact and state government area.
Neil Brown has been at the newspaper since 1993 and has seen it go through many changes. He was the managing editor when the paper's publisher decided to start running the mugshot gallery.
One of the big criticisms about mugshot galleries, as I'm sure you know, is that it doesn't have any context or analysis, and that as journalists, like, we should provide that, right? Is this journalism in your mind?
You know, it's absolutely journalism in my mind. Journalism comes in lots of forms and to great degrees of depth of reporting. My argument about the context of mugshots is it's that snapshot in time. In a sense, we make it very clear we're offering no context except at that moment, for better or worse, for any individual. We don't celebrate it, but the reality is you had your mugshot taken at the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. They charged you with this. The reader has some obligation to bring their own judgment to it.
Now, say the mayor got arrested. Obviously, there would be some story about the mayor getting arrested. And then if there was something down the road that his charges were dropped, there would be a follow-up story, right? Now, your average person's not going to get that opportunity. Like, this just, here's what happened, but there's no follow-up.
We see the mugshot thing as a totality. It's a site that captures a moment in time. We're not in the business of censoring. I don't mean to be disingenuous about anything. We thought there would be reader interest in this, and it generates traffic. That traffic is not insignificant. It's 5% of our traffic is mugshots.
But if mugshots bring traffic, and traffic sells ads, should newspapers share some of the same guilt of mugshot websites? I mean, aren't they both profiting off public shaming?
I would no way put newspapers in the same category as some of these sites that are extorting people by putting their mugshots up and then indexing them so that Google can find them. We put all kinds of content online. There's advertising around it, period. To me, there's no connection to that with us at all.
Clearly, newspapers aren't extorting people like these sleazy websites. The Tampa Bay Times seems to be trying to find the right balance. After all, they still have to worry about the bottom line, which means making difficult choices.
Martin was one of the developers of mugshots.
Why do you roll your eyes?
Don't say nothing. Say nothing. Mugshots. Bankrolling all of it.
Yeah. Right.
So the Tampa Bay Times might have nothing to hide with their gallery. But for mugshots.com, hiding seems to be a survival mechanism. Their owners have eluded everyone, including attorney Scott Ciolic and reporters. And we still haven't had any luck pinning down Mark Epstein, who says he's a lawyer from mugshots.com. So I called him again, and this time he shared some news.
Oh, you're no longer connected. Oh, wow.
He kept stringing me along, saying he was going to reveal more details about the company when the time was right. But then, he never called me back. So we tried again. This time, we waited outside his office to see if we could finally catch up with him. And we did. We have a lot of questions for Mr. Epstein.
So who's profiting from this? I mean, how much money?
The question is,
how much money?
why
Not me. Look at the cards right.
Why the secrecy? Why the secrecy?
I'm not secret. I have an attorney-client relationship. That's why there's secrecy.
But there must
Whether I like my client or not.
Did you like your client?
But at the time.
Not anymore?
No.
Well, that was Epstein. Not exactly the tell-all interview we were hoping for.
There he goes. That happened really fast.
But at least now we know he's real. Still, if he couldn't help us, perhaps his son Ari could. So we called him, and to my surprise, he talked to me.
So he admitted that he worked for mugshots.com for 4 years. He stopped working there 2 years ago because he had some sort of falling out with the higher-ups. He said that they wouldn't let him see tax documents, and he started getting nervous thinking that there was some kind of tax evasion going on or some sort of illegal activity. He also admitted that he set up shell companies for them so that no one would know who was behind the sites.
He actually admitted to that?
Yes.
Will he do an on-camera interview with us?
No, but he did send me a text message.
I regret being involved on any level, even though I was never the person directly responsible. I realized there was no public interest, and it was a nearly pure loophole extortion racket.
This is huge. He's admitting to us.
He wouldn't tell me who owns the company now, but he did give me a name, the name of somebody who owned the company until 2013, Sahar Sareed. He said good luck getting him to talk.
Sahar Sareed apparently owned the domain mugshots.com until he sold it around 2013. Looks like Sahar has done well for himself. He spends a lot of time traveling the world. Yeah, this is him belly dancing and snorkeling. From the looks of his Facebook page, this guy is living the high life. So with our new info, we went to find Sahar Sareed.
What do you think about parking on the grass?
That's fine. Here's his dog. He's a German Shepherd named Lala.
Oh, God. I actually kind of wish that I hadn't seen that.
Let's go.
Wow, that is terrifying. Hello?
Lala.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I guess we just wait.
Moments later, Sahar pulls up.
Are you Sahar? I'm Natasha Del Toro from Fusion. I've been trying to contact you for months now because we're doing an investigation with mugshots.com. We know from our investigation that you were an owner. Are you still running the company? Fantastic.
Hi, nice to meet you, Dan from Fusion. How are you?
Sir?
Why does the number for unpublishedarrests.com trace back to you?
Aren't they supposed to be different companies?
There's a lot of people who've been harmed by this. Innocent people.
Hey, what?
Innocent people.
Well, there you have it. That was Sahar Sareed, and doesn't look like he was willing to talk to us about who's running the company or his involvement at all.
The owners of these mugshot websites claim they're doing a public service by publishing mugshots, but then they hide like naughty children. Unbelievable. But all the more reason to continue the hunt. Coming up on The Naked Truth.
What happened? I'm on the front page all of a sudden?
Mugshot websites are profiting off public humiliation, and the owners of the sites are hard to pin down.
When it came to mugshots.com, we couldn't determine who that was.
After months of looking, we found people involved with mugshots.com right in our backyard, South Florida.
Not me. Look at the cards right.
Mark Epstein says he no longer works at the company,
Are you Sahar?
and Sahar Sareed didn't want to talk to us. So we went back to the office to regroup, and we finally caught a break. We found one of Sahar Sareed's business associates, a man named Thomas Kesey, and it was these two documents that led us to him. His business address is listed in registration documents from UnpublishArrest.com, the site that accepts payments for mugshot removal. He's also listed in an Illinois lawsuit against mugshots.com as a potential owner. And here's his own mugshot. It's from an arrest in 2001 for marijuana possession and stalking, both charges for which he made a deal and avoided conviction. And by the way, his mug isn't on mugshots.com. We called him several times and he never returned our calls, so we decided to pay him a visit. And turns out he lives in one of those gated communities.
We're here to see Thomas Kesey, Keesee.
What's the news?
What's he saying?
He said no, do not give them access because he doesn't know you guys.
So we turned around and went to grab something to eat at a grocery store. Then something really weird happened. In one of the aisles, I saw someone that looked a lot like Thomas Kesey, so I told Dan to check it out.
He does look like him, right?
He does.
I know.
We approached the car and Dan asked, "Are you Thomas Kesey?" And he says no. He denied being Thomas Kesey. Dan took a photo of him driving away.
Don't tell me that didn't look exactly like him.
It's weird, but wasn't his reaction weird?
We asked around and were able to confirm that was Thomas Kesey after all. As you can see, these people are slippery. In the Wild West that is the internet, maybe it takes a sheriff to bring order to town.
It started with me getting phone calls from people and me saying, okay, we'll take them down on an individual basis. And then people calling me back and saying, you know, do something about this mugshots.com, do something about this website. The most I can do is to take them off the website so that they can't be data mined and then people can't be extorted.
So Sheriff Galtieri created a password-protected site to only give media outlets access to mugshots, while still keeping all arrest records available online.
All of those photos, every single one of them, they're still a public record. And so if somebody wants to come into our office and say, I want a copy of the photograph of Joe Smith as an example, we'll give it to them. But they can't sit at home just perusing them, and importantly, these extortionist mugshot companies can't en masse.
Maybe Sheriff Galtieri has given us a glimpse of the solution, but that's just one county and one state, a drop in the bucket. Several states have tried to stop mugshot extortion sites. In 2013, Georgia, Illinois, Oregon, Texas, and Utah passed laws to protect residents of those states against mugshot sites. 7 other states followed suit. Powerful groups have also tackled it. After this New York Times article was published in 2013, Google changed their search algorithm so that mugshots aren't the first thing to come up on a search. Credit card companies also said they would stop processing payments from mugshot websites. But somehow, those pesky mugshot websites didn't disappear. They found ways around the Google algorithm, and they also figured out ways to still take credit card payments.
Is there justice for these victims?
There could be justice if the federal government, the president, and the people that have to make the decisions on a federal level recognize the severity of this problem, to go after these people who are committing a massive, massive racket on a national scale, then there could be some justice.
So our leaders in Washington must be all over this, right? Well, not so much. We know that the Federal Trade Commission and the FBI have received thousands of complaints in recent years. We called several times to find out what they're doing about it, but they gave us the runaround, and neither the FBI nor the FTC would talk to us on camera. So the mugshot extortion racket continues. Coming up on The Naked Truth.
I guess it's time for Plan B.
It's probably a good time to remember this. Just because someone has a mugshot doesn't mean they broke the law. But that doesn't stop companies like mugshots.com from exploiting them. And as we've seen, those they've screwed over seem to have no place to turn. The victims are left to fight for themselves. Remember Shireen Sterling, whose stolen ID got her on the mugshot websites? Her attorney was able to fight mugshots.com to get her name removed from the site.
I felt like freedom, like a weight was lifted off my shoulder.
You gonna get me? You gonna get me? And remember Tim Donnelly? When he didn't have the same luck as Shireen, he called mugshots.com to see if he could convince them to remove his photo.
Do you think it would be worth my while if I hold off on this and maybe contact one of the reputation companies, and they can get with y'all and y'all can kind of bundle up the rest of the websites?
Then he asked a question they didn't like.
Are y'all in Belize? Can you tell me which country you're in? What happened? I'm on the front page all of a sudden? What happened? Hello?
Is he there?
Mm-mm.
What happened?
He said he had to take another call, and he goes, oh my gosh, you're on the front page.
They didn't really put him on the front page. It was a threat, proving again how easy it is for an anonymous voice on the phone to screw people over. But it's a little tougher when it's face-to-face. Which is why, when I explained to Jimmy and Tim that I found some real live human beings behind mugshots.com, we all agreed on a last-ditch quest for justice. So we flew them to Miami.
Oh, there they are. Hey! Fancy meeting you here. Welcome to Miami. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How's it going?
Great, thanks for having us.
It's been a long time coming, so.
I can't wait.
We're on our way to see Mr. Thomas Kesey, the man we have good reason to believe is the last known owner of mugshots.com. We found his name on registration documents from publisharrest.com, and he's named as a potential owner in an ongoing lawsuit in Illinois. We had a long drive from Miami and a bunch of cameras pointed in our faces, so we talked.
How is this going to bring you any sense of justice or peace?
Today, it's really more symbolic. I've tried to ask politely, please take my picture down. That's not even my name, that's not my address. It's incorrect and he wants money. Well, he can just pay me to leave.
Well, I think it's going to get pretty real for the guy. You know, he can field phone calls on the internet, get angry emails when he knows that he's not that hard to find. Maybe he'll have an epiphany, I don't know.
And we finally arrived at our destination.
Hi, how are you doing? I'm here to talk to Thomas Kesey. I've got two gentlemen that would like to talk to him and see if he's home. He just told him there's cameras. Thank you. Is he open?
He doesn't want you. He's not home, and he doesn't want you in.
Oh, he won't let us.
No.
He's not interested in talking to us?
Right.
Why not?
Make a U-turn right here, please.
Did he say why he wasn't willing? No? Just no? Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. I guess it's time for Plan B. You're cool with Plan B?
I'm cool with Plan B.
That's right. Time for a little poetic justice. Since Mr. Kesey won't talk to Tim and Jimmy, we're going to stand outside his home to see if we can get his attention.
Well, it's a guy who owns a mugshot website called mugshots.com. This is his mugshot. We're trying to get our picture off his website today. That's who we believe the owner of mugshots.com is. This is Mr. Thomas Kesey. This is his mugshot.
But it's not a real demonstration until the cops show up.
But as long as we stay on the sidewalk,
Stay on the
we're
sidewalk
okay?
and not on their property.
Sure.
They're virtually must have. We can say.
So here we are. After a year of this investigation, after trips to Nebraska, Texas, Washington, D.C., New York City, and all over Florida, after talking to dozens of people like Jimmy and Tim and reading hundreds of public documents, after seeing what all this says about our loss of privacy and the fundamental American assumption that we're innocent until proven guilty, here I am, out on the sidewalk with Tim and Jimmy.
How are you feeling?
I love it. Because he takes his face down and hides. He can't hide from me. I mean,
There's no hiding from this. I mean, we have a public record of his mugshot, and we're just out here using our First Amendment rights to protest. I think that's good.
So maybe Tim and Jimmy have the right idea. They didn't pay up, they spoke up. You could too. The Federal Trade Commission, your state's Attorney General, the FBI, they could all do something about this. Maybe you should give them a call. Or hell, if you want to have a little fun, have your own mugshot protest party to let people know you won't stand for this kind of extortion.